Have you ever wondered what are the right actions to take in your relationship to make sure that it lasts, that it's durable, and really that it becomes epic love? My name is Terri Cole. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, a relationship expert, the founder of Real Love Revolution and Boundary Bootcamp, and I'm also the author of the book called Boundary Boss. In this episode of the Terri Cole Show, that is exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you. Real Love Revolution season. I've been talking about love for the past 6 weeks, probably pretty intensely, and there's so much information. What if you could just boil it down to 4 incredibly important action steps that you could take within your relationship on a regular basis that would really turn it into epic love? I think that you can. So let's start with the first one, which is acknowledge. Acknowledging our partner is so important that John Gottman and John and his wife Julie Gottman created, co-founders of the Love Lab that has been doing work and studying successful and unsuccessful couples for the past 35 years. They talk about the masters of love and the disasters of love and what sets them apart. And there's something that they share that's called bidding, when you bid for the attention of your partner. Now, couples do this all day long, right? Partly, we may be making small talk or ask a question that maybe we know the answer to because we're wanting to connect with our partner. So think about it this way. The statistics from the Love Labs, the actual exercise that they did with all of these couples, the data came back that said, what distinguishes couples that are masters of love and couples that are disasters of love? And one was about how often they gave each other the attention that the other one was asking for. So for the people who were disasters, the couples, 7 out of 10 times that either one of them bid for the attention of the other, they were rejected or met with anger, or they were ignored. For the masters of love, 7 out of 10 times when either one of them bid for the attention of the other, they gave it. Either it was either passive positive, where you're smiling and being okay, or aggressive positive, where you really get into whatever they ask you about and you put down your book and you talk about it. With the disasters, 7 out of 10 times, there was a negative response. So it was either passive negative, where the person was ignored, or it was aggressive negative, where you're why are you interrupting me? Why are you asking me a question you know the answer to, or whatever? So I really want you to think about that acknowledgement. So that's one thing, is when your partner's bidding for your attention, is to give it to them. But then there's more with acknowledgement, because it's such a big subject, basically. What other things go under acknowledgement? When your partner does anything for you, right? Anything that is for the good of the house, the home, the family. And even though you're doing plenty of things that for the good of the greater good, let's say, of your crew, it's important that there's an acknowledgement, because acknowledgement also encompasses gratitude. So being polite in a real way, being grateful in a real way, being appreciative in a real way for the big and the small things. And I've always said that the success of my 23-year relationship is that we are really ridiculously polite, and not weird and walking on eggshells. When I say polite, I mean grateful. I mean that we vocalize our gratitude for all the things that we do for each other. So whoever gets up last and makes the bed, the other person later on says, thanks for making the bed. If Vic unloads the dishwasher and puts it away, I say, hey, thanks for doing that. One thing I know for sure is that it's incredibly easy to take for granted the person that you have decided to make a life with. That it's real easy to pick at them, to see what's annoying about them, to focus in your own mind, whether you're being vocal or not, about what's kind of wrong with them. So with acknowledgement and gratitude, you're really deciding that you're going to focus on what's right and you're going to be grateful for it. That doesn't mean we bypass problem solving, but all of these verbs that I'm giving you in this episode are things that will build feelings of goodwill and camaraderie and connection between you. And that is super important because life can be hard. And when you have those good feelings between you, it really makes the relationship so much more durable. So the second one is to listen, and that is a verb. Not pretend you're listening, not be a wait to talker where your person brings up something and you're like, oh, me too, I had a dream too last night. It's really creating space for both of you to talk and be fully heard. So this can be challenging if you're not doing it in your relationship, but just become more mindful. Instead of saying, oh, I had that same thing, think about expansive things to say. Like, is there anything else you want to say about that? Or can you tell me more about that? Or what else did you think about that? Like, there are ways that you can ask your partner to expand on what they're thinking. And in my relationship, I take it one step further. And I'm always interested in what Vic is thinking. Now, it's not like I'm the thought police. I'm actually interested. I'm not judging what he's thinking. I just want to know if we're taking a long ride. I'll be like, what are you thinking right now? And he'll be like, in the beginning when we were together, he would be like, nothing. Like thinking that I was assuming he was thinking something bad, kind of. He'd be like, why do you ask? Do I look weird? I'm like, no, I'm actually just interested in what you're thinking. And then even if it's convoluted, he'll be like, well, it was kind of weird. I saw that tree and then I thought, I'm interested in that. I'm not saying you'd be interested in that, but he's my person, so I'm interested in that. So listening, which is such an important aspect of knowing each other. There is so much to learn about your partner. Even when you think maybe you know all their stories, maybe you know all the stuff. Vic and I talk all the time, and I'm still learning things about him. But I'm interested to learn because he is the most interesting person I've ever met, right? So, listening. The third is accept, and that is a verb. Now, this doesn't mean, so don't misconstrue it, it doesn't mean accept crap behavior, it doesn't mean accept bullshit. It means accept your partner, which is with their good and bad qualities. So none of us are perfect. Your partner's not perfect. You're not perfect. Because Vic isn't like me, I don't think I would like him if he were like me, honestly. We are very different, but both very committed to our union. I used to be more judgmental, like, why he doesn't do this the way that I would do it, because I was single for a long time before we got together. I didn't get married till I was 35. So accepting, being curious about why your partner is the way they are, but also accepting what do they want for themselves, right? What are their dreams for themselves? Because it's very easy when we get partnered to suddenly be like, well, now we have our shared dreams and that's what it's about. But that's not only what it's about. What does your partner want for themselves? And again, when I say accept, what I'm really saying is judge less and accept more. Because so much of a long-term relationship, its success, epic love, is about compromising, meeting in the middle, knowing where you can do that and what are your deal breakers, where you can't. And I think that in a healthy union, Vic and I always, whatever's more important to the other person, like if we're talking about something and I don't want to do something, I say to him, how important is this to you? And he never abuses that. If it's not, he'll say, you don't need to come to this event. It's actually, I don't even care. Okay. He's not hurt if I don't want to. If he says it's important, I'm like, great. Can't wait to get dressed up for this black tie thing, whatever it is. Like, he just has to say that. He knows that if it's important to him, I will accept that and make it important to me. So acceptance is really important. And again, it's also a big subject. but it's one that you can really dive into and look at where you're not being in acceptance. And you'll see, you're watching this, there's a link below where you can get the downloadable guide that goes with this episode. And the last verb that I chose, because I really wanted to keep it to, I could have been like 30 verbs of epic love, easily. But what really are my top ones? And I chose the word elevate. So holding our partners in high esteem, assuming the best, but also having a vision of their greatness. So it's believing in their capacity. It's seeing their highest self, And that takes a minute, where we all have our limitations. And so much of the time I look to Vic to see how his view of me is an elevated view more than my own view. And I've got perfectly fine self-esteem. But of course I have my insecurities just like anyone else. And so when I'm feeling insecure, I look to him and think about how he views me. And he has a very lovely, elevated view of me and my capabilities and whatever. So elevate is important, as opposed to scratching someone down, putting someone down, being a dream killer, being like, that's never going to happen. Like, that is a bummer, and it will never actually produce epic love. So another thing that will amplify the love in your life, if you're seeking to have bigger, more love in your life, I actually have the More Love Meditation experience coming up. Click the link below to check out what we're going to be doing there. It's 10 days of juicy awesomeness that I think you are going to absolutely love. I made it super bite-sized, but incredibly powerful. So I hope that you will join me for that. I hope you liked this episode of The Terri Cole Show. If you did, please subscribe, share it with the people in your life. I hope you have an amazing week filled with epic love. And as always, take care of you.